Hi guys, you're welcome back to the channel. This is 401 Styling. If you are new here, thanks for coming, and to the returning subscriber, thank you very much. So today I want to share with us the easy and fast method of making hip and butt pad. Okay, so please watch this video to the end and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. So now we are going to start with this fresh pattern paper. We are going to be drafting both the front and the back together. For this method, we are just going to need 3 measurements. Okay, but before that, I would like to draw a straight line like this up here as my starting point. Okay, and this particular line is also my waistline. So go ahead and label that line as your waistline. So from this line now, we are going to take other measurements, including the hip line measurements and the knee line measurements. Those are the 3 lines that we are going to need for this particular tutorial. Okay, so mark forward like this, then you connect with a straight line. So after connecting it this way, we are going to divide this line into 2 vertically. Okay, so one side will be for the front and it's going to be for the back. Okay, so to divide this line, and the measurement you are going to use, you divide your hip circumference by 4. The new hip circumference you want to work with, you know that we are trying to make the hip and butt bigger, so you will not use your original measurement. You're going to use the new measurement. So let's assume you want to increase your hip from 36 to 40. You're going to work with 40, not 36. You can add as much as 2, 3 or even 4 inches to your original measurement. Okay, so anyhow you want to divide this, just make sure that whatever you will have on both sides must be up to the quarter of your measurement. So now I'll draw a margin line here, and that is where I'll start my measurement from. Okay, so this line is just like a guideline, nothing spectacular about it. So from this line now, I'm going to go out by 7 inches. I'm not going to use all the 7 inches. I just want to use that as a front measurement. Okay, just label the front and the back after dividing the line. Okay, the measurement you're going to use for the lap side, or where you want to have as your tie, is not going to be as wide as that of the back. Okay, so it is between 4 to 7 inches depending on the size of the person you are working with. Okay, so on this waistline now, this line in between now is going to be our hip, exactly on our hip, and we are going to have our side front just like we have our side front and side back. So from this line now, you go in and out by 1 inches. Then on the hip line, you are going to take 1 inches on both sides of the line as well. Then you are going to connect with your curve rule. Okay, so for the measurements of the back, it's going to be a quarter of your hip circumference, just like I've said before, minus 1, because you don't want the hip pad to get up to your zipper allowance. Okay, so you go away from your zipper allowance by 1 inch. Okay, if you look at the human body very well, you see that it is not as if our butt is closer, it's totally closer to each other. Just like we have different body shape, you need to watch the shape of the person you're working with as well, because creating a hip on butt pad is just to give it that natural look. So here now we have our dart and we're going to cut it out. Okay, so after this now you work on the front pattern, also the tie or the lap. Okay, you don't want it to be too wide, because at the front, to give it that natural look, it is always between 5 to 7 inches depending on the person's size. Okay, so for this now I'm just going to use 5 inches. So from this center line, I'm going to measure 5 inches forward, then I'll mark. Okay, so plus your sewing allowance, and then on the waistline now you mark that same 5 inches. Then you're going to connect from the waist to the hip line and to the knee line. So from the waist now you come down by 1 inch, because you don't want the pad to get up to your waist. Okay, it has to come down, because if it gets to your waist it will be showing that something is up there. So you need to create that shape. You can either use your free hand or use your curve like this. Just make sure that you come down by 1 inch so that it doesn't get up to your waist. Now you're going to connect the 3 points together. Okay, if you look at our legs, our thigh, you see that it is not as if it is bigger from the top down to the knee. So we need to always have it in mind, the body shape, and that is what we should use. That is what we should use, sorry, when we are connecting our lines or connecting our points. Okay, so just like I have here now, you're going to make sure that the lower it goes, the tiny it becomes. You just use your free hand to just create that shape, because you need to blend the pad to your body. Just like this, my arm now, you see that the lower it goes, the tiny it becomes. So it's just as if your thigh and your leg. Then after blending, you can now work on the back. That is all for the front for now. As for the back now, you're going to divide your new hip circumference measurements by 4. Then you subtract 1 inches. You come out 1 inches away from the zipper allowance. So you can just mark the circumference measurements divided by 4. Then when you are transferring to your materials, you can now trim off, or maybe when you are blending. Okay, so I'm just going to divide the measurement by 4. Okay, and I'm going to mark it out here from this center line. Okay, so you can just go ahead and do the same thing. Okay, here I'm going to mark 9.5 inches plus my sewing allowance, because you're going to join this either with your thread and needle or sewing allowance. So now you're going to create a gallop shape around this lower part, just like we used to have the woman, but it's not going to be exactly like that of the front. Okay, so just watch the way I'll just create that round shape, not a total round shape. You're going to connect the 3 points like you did for the front. Okay, you can use your free hand. This time around, you don't really need a curve ruler. You can simply use your free hand. Then you connect. Okay, connect the points. Go ahead and create the shape of the butt like the way it used to be when we are turning sideways, we are looking at someone from the side. Okay, that is what you are going to use to get the shape. So I'm just going to use my marker to make all this line visible now. So this is my hip line. Okay, just go ahead and label it like this. Okay, and this is the waistline. Those are the 3 points you're going to need. Okay, and this is the knee line. Okay, so by the time you finish cutting out this pattern, you can simply trim off if you feel that it is too long, depending on what you are fixing this hip and butt part to. Okay, because this is like a non-detachable hip and butt pad. So maybe in the next tutorial I'm going to make a detachable hip and butt pad, but this one is going to be non-detachable. That is, we are going to fix it inside our dress or our skirt. It can even be a pant. Okay, so I'm going to use this marker now to make this line visible, just like you see when you are drafting this back pattern. You really need to be careful to create that butt shape. Okay, so this front is going to be on your thigh or your lap, and this back is going to be exactly on your butt. Then you cut 2 of each pattern. Okay, so now next thing is going to cut out this pattern. Make sure you use an arrow to indicate, because by the time you cut it out, it might be confusing because of the type of material you'll be using. It's not actually a fabric that you want to work with, so you need to be careful with your pattern. Label it correctly and work with your pattern always. Okay, so the next thing I want to do now is to use this to cut out my fiber. And if you are working with a form, you use it to cut out your form. Okay, so you're going to cut 4 for each. So this is the fiber I want to work with. Okay, this fiber can be used for so many things, but this is what I want to use. You can use the fiber alone. It has different layer. You can open it up. This make it really easy to work with, so you can have as many layers as possible depending on how big you want the pad and hip board to be. So some people use of this foam, the bigger one. If you have this one as well, you can also use it. Okay, even if you have the hip pad or bra pad that is used for corset as well, some people make use of it. Okay, so you put the pad in between this fiber. That is, the fiber is going to be on top, the pad in between, then the fiber at the back also. So I'll be working with one side of this pad as an example for us, so that this video will not be too long. So I'll fold my fiber into 2 this way. Then I'm going to place one of this on it. Okay, then I'm going to trace it out. Cut how many pieces you need. Okay, so to make it easier, I'll just use my marker to trace out this paper first, so that I'll be able to remove my pattern, and I'll trace and I'll cut out on the line that I'm making now. Okay, you need to really follow this shape of the pattern when you're tracing out your pattern. Okay, so I'm just going to do that right now for both the front and the back. Now I'm done cutting out for the two sides. What I'll do next now is to use my stay to cover this before joining it together. Okay, you can either make use of your black or white stay, also known as paper stay. Then we are going to trim off all these edges so that it will lay flat and it will blend with our body. Even if you can remove it like this makes the fiber more easy to work with. So you can just pick from all the edges like this. Okay, and you can use your pressing iron by the time you are using your close stay to cover it. And if you are making use of a foam, you can use your scissors to trim off the excess. It has to blend with your body. So I'll just cover it now and show what it looks like. Now I've covered it front and back with my clothes stay, as you can see. So this center line, you don't need to blend it. It's going to be the side that's going to give you the curve part with your darts. Okay, that's the essence of our darts. Now I'm going to join it with my thread and needle. If you feel joining it with your machine will be okay, fine, you can do it. And you can also make use of your thread and needle. Just make sure you join it neat and you follow the darts that you have there. So I'm just going to do this now, and after sewing it together, we are going to cover this particular place that we joined together, this center line. We're going to cover it again with another cloth stay to make that part neat. Okay, after joining, as you can see, it is coming up already and the center is going down. Okay, what I'm doing now is to cover this center line. Okay, you can make use of your stay or paper stay, and I'm going to use a steam iron so that it will be easier. So because I don't want the shape of this I don't want to ruin the shape of this part, that's why I'm using my bust ham or tailor ham, so it will help me maintain that curvy part at the center. Okay, go ahead and do the same thing, and then I'll cover this joining front and back. So after pressing it this way, you are going to fix it inside your skirt or your dress or whatever you are fixing it to. Then you cover it with a lining. Okay, you place it in between the main fabric and the lining, or better still, you cover it with another lining after placing it. Okay, so this front part is going to be on my lap. Okay, you place it on the waist lower, you place it lower, and the back is going to fall to the back. So when you're attacking it, make sure that you place it carefully. You should get to the back at the center of your back like this. You can just move away by 0.75 or 1 inch. Okay, so I'm just going to do that now. I'll take the before and after of my body measurements. Okay, so guys, thank you very much for watching this tutorial to this moment. Okay, if you find this tutorial interesting, kindly click on the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, like this video, do not forget to share. Okay, so, and this is our final result. Thank you.